They are corrupted through the hardness of their hearts. Here's how it must look for Christians. Wives, submit to your husbands as the church submits to Christ. As the church submits to Christ. In other words, here's how I unfold this. Wives, put yourself under, the mission of your husband. Submission. Wives, put yourself under the mission of your husband. What's the mission of the husband? It's right in the next line. Husbands, treat your wives like doormats. Why are we so quick to think this is what St. Paul is saying? Listen to what he says. Husbands, here is your mission. You want to live in authentic spirituality as a husband? Here it is. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. How did Christ love the church? This is my body given up for you. My father-in-law understood this. Christ said, I have come into the world not to be served, but to serve, and to lay down my life for my bride. Do you know what it means when St. Paul says, wives, submit to your husbands? Do you know what it means? It means, wives, allow your husbands to serve you. To which I respond, who's got it worse here? We have the whole thing flipped upside down. Now, of course, the analogy here is ultimately going to break down, because no husband is a perfect image of Christ. And no wife is a perfect image of the church. And yet, ladies, my dear sisters, can you imagine if your husband took his mission seriously? Isn't this the love you're looking for? Correct me if I'm wrong, my dear sisters, I'm not a woman, but doesn't this correspond to the deepest yearnings of your heart for love? To have a man who would love you as Christ loved the church? When this is properly explained, I have never heard a woman say, oh, that's so demeaning towards women. Listen to what our Holy Father says. We can conclude that the wife's submission to her husband, understood in the context of the entire passage, signifies above all the experiencing of love. All the more so since this submission is related to the image of the submission of the church to Christ, which certainly consists in experiencing his love. Experiencing Christ's love. Living Christ's love. This is what marital spirituality is. And this is also why contraception, according to our Holy Father, is the antithesis of an authentic marital spirituality. The antithesis of an authentic marital spirituality. We might put it this way. Contraception is an anti-epiclesis in the sacrament of marriage. Epiclesis is the moment in each sacrament where we call the Holy Spirit upon the gifts. Contraception says we don't want the Holy Spirit to be part of this union. We don't want the Holy Spirit to be part of our marital act. And so therefore it is no longer a marital act. It is an act of lust. Did you know that contraception was not invented to prevent pregnancy? We already had a 100% safe, 100% reliable way of doing that. What's it called? Abstinence. Contraception was invented for one reason alone: to indulge lust. Which paradigm are we speaking of here? Self-gratification or self-donation? If you are living the paradigm of self-donation, the church's teaching makes total sense. If you are living the paradigm of self-gratification, you will look at the church's teaching as a call to overcome your self-gratification, which is exactly what it is. But you don't want to overcome your self-gratification, you want to indulge your self-gratification, so the church's teaching becomes the main the main opponent to you satisfying your self-gratification. And just to summarize what's going on here, can you imagine a priest at the climactic moment of his priesthood in the Eucharistic prayer? Can you imagine a priest saying, "Let the Holy Spirit not come upon these gifts because I don't want them to be holy"? Can you imagine a priest doing that? This, and no less than this, in an analogical way, is what is going on with contraception. But is a priest obligated to say the Mass as many times as he can physically possibly say the Mass? Might a priest on a given day have a good reason not to say the Mass? Is it inherently wrong to abstain from saying the Mass? No. If you can understand the difference between abstaining from saying the Mass and saying a sacrilegious Mass, then you can understand the difference between contraception and natural family planning. I close with this statement from our Holy Father. Quote, "In light of Humanae Vitae, the fundamental element of the spirituality of married life is the love poured out into the hearts of the couple as a gift of the Holy Spirit. In the sacrament of marriage, the couple receive this gift along with a special consecration. Contraception is a rejection of that gift of the Holy Spirit. If today you hear His voice, harden not your hearts." May God be praised now and ever and forever. Thank you very much.